To be brave means to be the best version of yourself to the limit, like with no fears, with no hesitating, with no doubts.
Well, the story of Carlota starts in a very nice and beautiful way because I wanted to wait to have another child until my first was old enough to be independent. So I waited 7 years and a half and we were expecting Carlota.
En el Hospital Parres, el Hospital Civil de aquí de Cuernavaca, Morelos, iba muy grave mi hija porque sentía dolores de parto, teniendo 5 meses de embarazo. A la hora que llegamos al Parres, inmediatamente se fue al quirófano y salió el doctor y me dijo: señora, las probabilidades de vida de su hija y de su nieta es muy pocas, por no decir que ninguna. Yo comencé a decirle: Dios mío, por favor, déjalas. Las necesitamos. Carlota nació a los 5 meses con 30 centímetros de estatura y medio kilo de peso. Algo increíble. La metieron a ella en la incubadora y Carla se fue a urgencias.
Carlota was a baby that needed a lot of stuff. She was crying from start to the end. So I was like, something is not correct. Still like always guessing around and telling the doctors, I think there's something wrong. So I told the doctor, please make her all the exams necessary to know that everything is correct. And he told me like, okay, Carla, you were right. Carlota has a brain palsy. And he told the name that it's easy for me to say like my name. Is hemiparesia spástica izquierda. It's left, spastic, hemiparesic. So grieving becomes I think, hopefully not, but every mom's situation after diagnosis. But then, even though you fail and step up and fail again and fall and fall and fall, you have to step up because life continues.
Estábamos en un videocentro que había todavía. Estábamos ahí y una señora vio a Carlota cómo caminaba así, chuequita, y dijo: perdone, ¿qué tiene? Dice: pues es espasticidad y parálisis cerebral. Dijo: ¿me permite? Llevaba una tarjeta del Shriners y se la dio a mi hija.
Being accepted as a Shriner family. Ooh, wow. Finding Shriner Hospital was the gift of my life and of all my family life.
So I have had 5 surgeries at the hospital. The first one was when I was 5, and then the next one was until I was 14. When I was 14, it was really big, complicated surgery.
Su condición es una lesión cerebral que se inicia al nacimiento generalmente cuando hay hipoxia, que significa que no llega oxígeno al cerebro. Entonces esto hace que ciertas funciones motoras se dañen y afecten la formación de las extremidades. En este caso solo es un lado, la mano y la pierna. Y la condición es que hay una desviación del pie hacia afuera, que se había intentado tratar con una cirugía previa, pero el hueso no respondió lo suficiente para pegar y entonces le condicionaba dolor y aún así desviación. Entonces lo que hice fue revisar esa cirugía para alinear su hueso, hacer que pegara y se quitara el dolor y tuviera una mejor posición. En mi opinión, creo que el Hospital Shriners es un oasis en el sistema de salud en México hablando, ya que la mayoría de los hospitales pues desgraciadamente no cuentan con todos los insumos, con toda la tecnología.
In Shriners, they treat you the best way possible. All the attention, the help, the medical feedback. It's amazing. You wouldn't get that anywhere else. Every single person there, they make you love yourself more.
To be blessed to have Carlota as my daughter and as my companion these years has inspired my life, because nothing has been easy. But we've been there to support each other for the good, for the bad. And looking back just make me feel so proud.
I'm really proud of myself. I feel confident. I feel strong. I feel capable of showing the world what I want to show. And I'm looking forward to being an Olympic champion and the best international patient ambassador that they have had in Shriners history.
To be brave means not only the quintessential definition of one man standing against 100, but doing the right thing even when no one is watching, not being afraid to do what you know is right, and being able to share your faith.
Brandon was a healthy, active 6-year-old boy. In fact, he had just finished playing his last baseball game of the season, and we had noticed he had a little dribble, so, maybe started a cold or something. By Tuesday, his teacher mentioned that he had had a really bad headache, and Wednesday he woke up with a fever, so of course kept him home from school that day. Thursday, things were just kind of progressing. You could tell he wasn't feeling great. Saturday morning, Brandon woke up and, I was downstairs. We heard a loud thump.
I ran into his room and he told me he couldn't move his arm and he couldn't move his leg. And I scooped him up. At that point, we did take him, and I remember carrying him into the emergency room and telling him, what was going on, and just a complete feeling of helplessness.
I just remember just worried that he wouldn't make it or something, just praying that God would leave him here with us.
Acute flaccid is what he has, or we call it AFM. And it's basically the new polio. It was 2014 when AFM really made its debut. And Brandon, he was kind of the second year of acute flaccid myelitis that we saw in the U.S.
Acute flaccid myelitis, which can mean that you have some weakness and you lose the ability of some of your nerves to work. It primarily affected his lower extremities and his upper one arm, and he's received lots of treatment for that at various shrines along the way, lots of therapy.
We were looking for a everyday in and out therapy that is good, solid, and helpful. Found Shriners. We went for a visit to see if they could do anything, and it was exactly what I needed.
He started going to therapy there pretty much every day for PT and OT. They did a really great job of, certain things he had to do, but then they would reward it with something else.
The hardest thing I've ever done was learning to walk again, not only physically but also mentally. It was one of the hardest yet most rewarding things, realizing that I can be normal and I can have an opportunity at a life like everybody else, and not have to be wheelchair bound. As a 6-year-old, it was a really, really big thing to be able to just even do something as simple as walk.
One of the OTs shared with us about some of the new developments that Dr. Z and Dr. Kozin were doing in Shriners in Philadelphia.
Basically, a nerve transfer procedure. They take nerves that are functioning and reconnect them to muscles that are not.
After the surgery was over, that first time when they were able to see the nerve fire just a little bit in his arm, I remember so much excitement. Kathleen calling me at work that they saw it fire.
Before this surgery, I had zero function in my arm, and I couldn't do anything with it. I can now do a bicep curl, and I can function and eat almost like normal.
Brandon, I think, is a pretty special kid. He is a very strong, very compassionate child who is mature way beyond his years. I think Shriners occupies a very special place in the medical system, in that we can do things that other hospitals can't. I don't think it's any coincidence that we have become the center for acute flaccid myelitis in the world. It just shows you how, if you have the right resources, you can tackle really difficult problems that other people are not able to tackle.
The difference between Shriners and a normal run-of-the-mill medical facility is the feeling of home that you get. I've never been anywhere that I feel the same way I do at Shriners. Everybody knows you. Everybody is doing their absolute best to make sure that you get what you need. And that is one of the greatest feelings.
I think just, beyond the initial medical component of it even, I think there was so much attention to the detail of how do we care for all of the child.